Welcome back to the Hubscale Podcast, where we dive into the minds of security leaders. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Ambuj, the co-founder and CEO of Simbian, to the podcast. Ambuj, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it's great to have you on. So we'll jump straight into it, Ambuj. So first question I've got for you is, people often talk about the founder's itch. You've had it twice now as a two-time founder. Can you tell us about when it hit you and the journey to founding Fortinix?
Yeah, so I grew up at NVIDIA when it was a much smaller company,
Sure.
and so worked very closely and saw Jensen Huang build that company from a few $100 million in market cap to tens of billions of dollars of market cap while I was there. And now, of course, it's a multi-trillion-dollar company. And I get inspired by seeing other great people. So I think I got my itch from there. And so I first worked for a small company, cryptography researching. And after being there for 5 years, got to know a little bit about security and created Fortanix, new type of security category altogether called confidential computing. So I was there for 7 years as founder, CEO, raised $135 million, got to hundreds of customers, enterprise all over the world. And in 2023, started Simbian, now building AI agents for security operations.
Amazing. The journey at Fortanix looked really interesting. You obviously scaled that business all over the world, as you've just said. Could you tell us a little bit about it and the journey?
Sure. So the goal of security is to keep your data private and secure. And we had invested lots of money in infrastructure security, but not much was happening at data level.
Sure.
And what I did was I realized that data exists in three different phases: data at rest, data in motion, and data in use. So there were technologies to protect your data at rest, which is kind of database encryption. Then we had technologies like TLS that protected your data in motion, but then nothing existed to protect your data in use. So we created a technology called confidential computing, where your sensitive data would get protection from hardware that would ensure that even if your privileged software is compromised, even if somebody has physical access to machine and root password, they couldn't get your data. So that was the genesis of Fortanix.
Amazing. Obviously, now you're working on your latest venture, Simbian. Could you tell us a little bit more about the core idea and the mission for that venture?
Yeah, so Symbian takes the view that there will always be new type of security threats and attacks, because security by very nature is a reactive game. Whatever things that you don't protect for are precisely the things that your enemies will exploit.
Sure.
So therefore, you have to respond. And if you have to respond, you need people. And that's a big problem because, as you would know better than anybody, give or take, there are $5 million, 5 million people all over the world who work in cybersecurity. And equally, same number of jobs are going unfilled because of skill gap, because of budgetary issue. So everybody wants to hire great security engineers or analysts, but one, they cannot find right people, and two, when they find, they cannot afford. And so idea behind Symbian is that can we build software that works like people, that thinks like people, and can do like 90% of the work that people do at 1/10 of the cost. So we built AI agents for security operations, and that's how Symbian got started.
It's such an awesome idea. You scaled Fortanix, all over the world. What's the mission with Symbian? Is it same again, or?
So Symbian's mission is to solve security with AI, and AI transformation is a generational opportunity. And there will be new type of companies, new type of industries that will emerge. And certainly, cybersecurity will see lots of changes because previously, what you took like maybe 5 months to do, now Symbian AI agent can do that in a fraction of a second. And so when that kind of technology is available, it's very hard to resist. So new like new companies will emerge that will be like new CrowdStrike, new Palo Alto networks, and hopefully that company is Symbian.
Absolutely, absolutely. AI driven security seems to be such a buzzword in the sector at the moment, Ambuj. Why do you think that is? Is it just a craze or is it here to stay?
Yeah, so it's a bunch of things. The number one is that everybody is being pushed to adopt AI. So if you work in security, your boss is asking you that, hey, can you apply some AI, please? Right. So there is strong pull, but security is really weird, right? As I said, we don't have enough people working. People who work, they are not really satisfied with their job. So only I think 62% people are kind of satisfied with their cybersecurity, very short tenure.
Yeah.
um, and so lots of angst in people, and it's like on one end you are fighting enemies from outside that are attacking your network, tricking your employees, trying to steal money from your organization, and then you have limited resources to respond, and now regulators are pointing fingers at you. So it's like you don't know which way to go, and there is always 10 times more work than what you have resources for, and you continue to spend more and more money on security tools and products, but everybody's configuration and environment is so different that finally it gets bottlenecked at people. So in that background, now if that somebody says that, hey, we have some cool idea, we can take AI and solve some problem, it naturally gets lots of attention. So that's why you see so much buzz around AI in cyber.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be the most talked about thing at RSA as well, I can imagine next week. One of the things that really comes across on the website for Symbian is the large language model system that you've developed. I think it's called Trusted LLM. Could you tell us about that? And it sounds like it's a bit of a game changer for Symbian.
That's right. So in most scenarios, everybody wants your tool to succeed. So let's say that you go to see a doctor is doing like X-ray over you. Everybody incentivized to make it work. The doctor wants you to be healthy, you want to be healthy, the nurse wants you to be healthy. The company that manufactured that X-ray machine wants you to be healthy. Everybody has shared outcome. In case of security, it's not that way. In case of security, it's on one side you have good guys, on the other side you have bad guys. And so if you start to use LLM, which are known to hallucinate, they make lots of mistakes, they are easy to trick. It's it's if you simply put a regular off-the-shelf LLM without much protection, um, attackers can take control of it, and they can create lots of situations where it can degrade your security from where you started. So taking that in account, that's the first thing we did. We created something called Trusted LLM, which is kind of a system built upon existing large language models, but it has all the protection for hallucination, it's protection for prompt injection. It does lots of things to ensure that it's trusted. It cannot be compromised, and it behaves in much more predictable way.
Awesome. Sounds amazing. There's so many vendors, coming out the woodwork at the moment, and lots of them are trying to implement AI. Where do you think the battle is going to be won and lost in the market in the coming years?
That's right. So everybody better pay attention to AI. because it's such a transformative technology. So it should not be surprising if all the vendors are pivoting to AI. It will be shocking if they did not.
Sure.
It's like .com of our time, or somebody has built like a steam engine, and you were, earlier had horse-driven cars. So of course everybody will transition to that. That's not the thing. Um, Now the question is for AI SOC in particular, can you create a product that works reliably, can works on different types of tools and technologies? And this is what will differentiate winners from others. And so today, Symbian is proud to be unique that we can take any alert from any SIM. So if you have Splunk, CrowdStrike Next Gen SIM, you have Microsoft Sentinel, you have IBM QRadar, you have Palo Alto XCM, any variety of SIMs, or you have EDR. So CrowdStrike, Sentinel One, Microsoft Defender, Trend Micro, anything. Or even if you have some cloud native security solutions, so you have AWS Guard Duty or CloudTrail or Chronicle or anything that alerts, Symbian can take that alert, figure out what needs to be done, go do that, and respond. So it will remove threats. If there is a malware, it will isolate the machine. If there is a user identity compromise, it will reset the password or lock the user. If IP address is involved, it will go block that without you doing anything. So not only we triage and investigate, but we fix the problem that we identified. And all of that happens without you lifting a finger. All you have to do to get started is integrate your tools with us, which just takes like a few seconds each. Just provide your credentials and instance ID, and then it starts to do its magic. And so lots of people are trying to build that, but so far we are only one who have done it. And to demonstrate it, just last week we did our AI SOC Championship, where
Well,
we invited people from all over the world to come and look at 100 real life scenarios, and investigate those alerts using our AI SOC agent. And so that was a grand success. So it's like, being able to deliver something rather than talking about it. So Symbian has
absolutely,
certainly
yeah.
crossed that chasm.
100%. I did see that. It was a really good idea, some great PR. Are you going to be doing the same next year?
That's right. So we plan to make it at least annual tradition AI SOC Championship, but it's been so successful that we might do some regional events.
Awesome.
And again, idea is that there are real threats, real environments, and there is AI agent that's doing some work, not all work, because we have instructed it. So we did something really clever. We put our AI agent and we instructed it to not work too hard. So it did like, 70, 80% of the work, and then you were supposed to do the remaining work. And so you did your remaining work, and then we asked agent also to work in extra, diligent mode and do its best. So we have baseline, and then we have humans, and then we have AI agent in diligent mode. And so that way you are comparing humans with humans that are aided by AI against just pure AI. And what was shocking and blew my mind, that out of about more than 100 people, only five surpassed our agent.
Wow.
So even when you are incentivized by $10,000 and you had 24 hours to tinker, only five people out of 100 could surpass our AI agents. So in a way, our AI agents are 95th percentile
Wow.
in like, among security professionals who are motivated by $10,000 to make $10,000 in a day.
Wow. That is crazy. That's really interesting. So you're thinking about rolling out some regional tournaments as well, potentially over the next 6 months or so?
Yeah, definitely, because this was our first event, so we didn't know what quite to expect, whether it will be hit or miss, and
Oh, yeah.
all the challenges of doing that. So our team worked really hard and we got lots of things and learned a few things. So now we have that recipe and so much interest that we'll replicate it across different geographies.
Well, people definitely need to look out for that, and the product certainly sounds, game changing. Ambuj. I've got a couple of other questions actually, just coming away from Symbian a little bit. You're obviously a second time founder this time. Is it different second time around?
Yeah, it's different. I'm not sure whether it's good or bad. So it's different. It's good because you have easier time raising money. You have easier time convincing people to join your company. I mean, it's still hard, but not as hard as first time founder. Um, on the other hand, the serendipity and magic of like working on a problem really, really hard for 3 months and then realizing that it won't go anywhere.
Yeah,
That disappointment and that magic is gone. So sometimes you know that these are dead ends, so you don't take that. And many times actually they turn out not to be dead ends. So
sure.
there is value in naivety. And similarly, sometimes earlier you could see an opportunity and you would think that, oh, maybe this will not be a big idea. Now you can sense that. So it's kind of stills the fun a little bit because you can anticipate, but it's amazing.
Awesome. What lessons have you learned? Are there any that stand out from that first journey that you've been able to apply?
Yeah, I mean, one lesson I did learn was that as a company, we are very ambitious. So my
Sure.
goal is to build like $100 billion company and solve security response and lower the cost of security operations center by 10x, things like that. So it's a bold vision and it requires lots of hard work from lots of people. And so this time, what I learned was that I will only work with people who subscribe to that theory.
Sure.
It's hard work, and on that way, people will make lots of money. I made lots of money to my employees and investor last time. Hopefully, it will be even bigger this time. So life is short. You want to work with people who subscribe to your culture, your values,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and go all out. So that's one change I'm making this time.
Awesome. One of the questions that I always ask is there a characteristic that kind of combines your best hires that all of them have for a startup environment like Fortanix or Symbian? Is there one thing that everybody has and they need it to be successful in one of your startups?
That's right. And so it's very specific in case of me. And so I'll share what that is. But I also want to, put in full disclosure that this is not a requirement to succeed elsewhere
Yeah, sure.
because different companies have different culture, different founders have different values. So this
Definitely.
is what worked for me
Sure.
and for my companies. So number one way of being successful at Symbian is um, work insanely hard and be humble, but wicked smart, and respect each other. Have humility that somebody might not have any background in what you do,
Sure.
but they may still have something to contribute.
Absolutely.
And so I don't value experience as much as I value enthusiasm and drive and passion.
Yeah.
So I tend to hire people who may not have like lots of experience in a particular background. They may be new or young, or they may be experienced but coming from slightly different field. And as long as they are passionate and smart and work well with each other, they have been very successful with me. So I always mention that in interviews, make sure that they subscribe to that theory. And again, it's not that has worked really, really well for me.
Amazing, amazing. One other thing that I wanted to ask you about is over the two ventures at Fortanix and then at Symbian, you've obviously been able to raise over $140 million in funding. Can you tell us about the process and are there any secrets that you've worked out over the years that you roll out time and time again?
Yeah, so there is only one secret, which is that somebody who is giving money to you, it's not their money, right? They are taking somebody else's money, And if and whoever is giving them money, they are making a decision to invest in venture rather than in S&P 500. So your investors need to return money to their LPs, and their LPs need to return money to pension funds or whoever. So people are giving you money to create value. And so as long as you realize that whatever money you take, your job is to grow like at least like 10x,
Sure.
and give it back to your investors. Everything else flows. And so that means solving right problems, raising right amount of money, having right vision, and not do like lots of short-term optimizations. And some of these things look very simple but very hard to follow. I constantly see people do stupid things. They
Yeah.
take money. They think that it's earned money. Like it's no investment is to make company more successful. And so yeah,
An investment is exactly that, an investment, right?
that's right.
We're pretty much at the end of the pod, Ambuj. I just want to ask you the final question that we always ask people, which is if you were to go back and speak to yourself at the beginning of your career, what one bit of advice would you give yourself?
Um, Thankfully, like I mean, for me, like most of my long-term thinkings have been correct. So more or less, world and technology evolved the way I thought they would evolve, and
Yeah.
the fundamental bets I made were more or less all turned out to be true. So I will say that enjoy a little bit more,
Enjoy the ride.
enjoy the ride, 100%.
Absolutely. Oh, brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Ambuj. Really interesting to hear about your journey. Also, Symbian as well. It sounds like an amazing product and it's going to go a long way. So, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.